Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Let's have a conversation about Nigeria's growing global presence and the critical role of its citizens abroad. Recently, President Bola Tinubu issued a strong and inspiring charge to Nigerians in the diaspora, a message filled with hope, responsibility, and a call to action. In his address, the president emphasized the importance of unity, national pride, and the pivotal role the diaspora plays in nation building. From investment to innovation, education to advocacy, Nigerians across the globe have continually shown resilience and excellence. And now more than ever, the president is urging them to channel those strengths back home. What exactly does this mean for the future of Nigeria? Tonight, let's speak with Yemi Makpaderu, strategy and governance expert. He speaks to us virtually from Leamington, Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much for speaking with us tonight, Mr. Makpaderu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moke. Right. Good evening, Nigerians. It's my pleasure to be here.
Good evening to you too. So, as a strategy and governance expert in the diaspora, first, I'm eager to know how you received President Tinubu's recent charge to Nigerians abroad. How practical is the president's call for Nigerians abroad to contribute more directly to national development? And what I mean is, does it resonate with the current reality of Nigerians living outside the country?
I think, putting it in perspective, I will say that the president has been consistent in all his foreign visits to have meetings with Nigerians in the diaspora. And that is not surprising at all. First and foremost, a lot of countries depend on their diaspora for development, whether it is economic, educational, technological transfer, knowledge, skills transfer, and the rest of it. Secondly, Nigeria's foreign policy direction under President Tinubu identified a 4D doctrine, namely demography, development, diaspora, and of course, democracy. So diaspora is the third leg of this four-legged table, and that emphasizes, the importance attached to what the diaspora can bring, to Nigeria. And this is much in line with what some other developed or developing African countries are doing. Many Nigerians actually think Nigerians in the diaspora, in terms of the quantum, in terms of the percentage of the population, is extremely high, but it's just about 7.55%. Morocco, Sudan, Egypt, have higher percentages of their population in the diaspora. And these populations have been contributing immensely to the development of those countries' economy. In recent years, Nigeria has realized that, and I think that was one of the reasons also why you have the establishment of the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission, so that the Nigerians in diaspora will feel a sense of belonging and see themselves as part of the building blocks for a greater Nigeria. So, to summarize my answer, I want to believe that Nigerians in the diaspora are actually receiving the president's messages very positively. Number one, it tells them that perhaps in Nigeria that some of them, not all, some of them deserted, is bouncing back. The theme of renewed hope is being preached, and records show that there has been, record levels of remittances by Nigerians in diaspora, to the Nigerian economy. Right. And we are also beginning to see a few Nigerians in some skill sectors like medical and technology also relocating back to Nigeria, having had successful careers here to contribute their own quota to the growth and development of Nigeria. And I think that is one area that the president wants to accentuate.
And, some Nigerians will say those Nigerians in diaspora relocating back to the country are those who have shown doggedness. But, what would you consider as the biggest practical barriers standing in the way of diaspora members who want to invest, return, or get involved in national initiatives?
Well, I think one of the challenges is the issue of trust, instability especially in terms of government economic policies. Most Nigerians can survive everywhere, but they need a higher level of predictability in terms of government policies. And they also will not want too much of intrusion or intervention in private business, in private enterprise through policy somersaults and reversals. But there seems to be a growing level of confidence in the last, 1.5, 2 years, because of the consistency of government policies, particularly in the area of foreign exchange policy. One of the challenges that Nigerians in the diaspora had is a situation where they found it difficult to remit monies and abroad back to Nigeria at a fair rate. Imagine sending $1,000 to Nigeria and having to get it in naira value based on then CBN rate, which gave room for arbitration of close to 300, in times over 300 naira at a point. So there was always that pressure to get somebody to physically bring the money home. But right now, Nigerians in diaspora seamlessly transfer funds home, believing that they get good rates, for their money. They get value for their money, especially because the arbitrage between the official rate and the black market rate has practically disappeared, or at least reduced.
And that's one challenge, That's one challenge, Mr. Makwaderu, because before now, there have been several conversations about existing key policy or government gaps that may prevent the diaspora from effectively responding to this call. Hence that last question. But is there a need for new legislation or, let's say, institutions to support diaspora contributions more meaningfully if we're truly serious about this?
Well, I think the apart from direct interventions, in terms of perhaps headhunting, Nigerians abroad who are doing exceedingly well in their various areas and who can fill gaps that we observe, in Nigeria. And I think a lot of people are doing that, even in the private sector. They're attracting a lot of people back home. In public sector, at the state level, at federal level, we have a few people that have been attracted back to Nigeria, because of their skills, because of their, experience and knowledge accumulated over the years. One other area which I touched on, it has to be in the area of policies, by making business-friendly policies. For instance, people want to, it's not only foreigners who invest in Nigeria that are concerned about the ability, the ease with which they can remit back, their funds or surpluses in Nigeria. Nigerians in diaspora also fall into this category. So that is why I try to emphasize the reform in the foreign exchange market as something that have multi-layer effect for foreigners and Nigerians that are in the diaspora. Because Nigerians in diaspora that are willing to come back to Nigeria actually put one leg, to test the waters before they take that dive.
And that would take me back to the issue of trust and stability, because
involve Nigerians in Nigerians in diaspora in the selection of their leaders by making it possible for diaspora people to be able to vote. One might say Nigerians in diaspora may not really influence in any significant way outcome of elections in Nigeria due to the numbers, but there is a kind of psychological effect it has that your country back home actually recognizes you and is willing to give you a voice in the leadership selection in the country. So I want to believe, like you rightly pointed out, that that is another level that can build trust. And again, like I said, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission has been doing a great work, a great deal of work. So they have also indirectly, in one way or the other, even though the role is not more of economic, but one of social and the welfare of Nigerians in diaspora. That also speaks volume to the fact that you are not just a number. Back home, you have institutions that are established, to look after your well-being and welfare.
But also, in an age of digital transformation, do Nigerians in the diaspora necessarily have to return physically to contribute?
Well, yes. For maximum effect, I agree. For maximum impact, I agree with you, because in the area of remittances, we are doing well. We are number 2 in Africa. We are only behind Egypt, at about 25, 26 billion dollars per annum, remittance. Nigeria is, by 2023, 2024 figures, we're at about 24 billion, maybe approaching 25 billion. But physically being on ground, I think Nigerians have been doing that. I'm aware of a number of Nigerians, especially in the health sector, who come back to Nigeria, occasionally, right, to conduct health and medical outreaches in Nigeria. There are some world-class hospitals that are springing up, in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, that are owned, are promoted by Nigerian medical experts in the diaspora. So I think what we just need to do, and I believe we are getting to that point, where successful Nigerians abroad are looking for newer challenges. They are patriotic. They want to come back to Nigeria to contribute their own quota. And I think the environment is getting more and more receptive of these kind of ideas and encouraging them to actually relocate.
And sadly also, Nigeria continues to lose highly skilled professionals to other countries. Mr. Mapadero, how can this brain drain be converted into a brain gain, especially in light of what the president has said? Are there specific programs or policies Nigeria should adopt to retain or re-engage these talents abroad?
Now, let me cite the example of India. I have always said that brain drain is a matter of perspective. Brain drain, in my view, can actually be brain gain.
Brain gain.
Most Indians, right? If you ask 10 Indians, a research has been carried out. If you ask 10 Indians if they were going to retire and stay back in America or in Canada, they will tell you, 9 of them will tell you they are relocating back to India. And they have different reasons for it. For instance, in the West, in America, in Canada, you may have to wait 5-6 months on the line before you get medical services, unless it is emergency. But you can walk into, any hospital in Nigeria, right, and do it for a fraction, of what it will cost if a Nigerian were to come to America or to Canada to do that. So that is one of the things that I believe is a pull factor for Nigerians, or that can be a full factor for Nigerians to come back and then, transfer the knowledge that they have garnered here, and use it to develop, Nigeria. And a lot of people are already doing that in the educational sector. I know of professors here that are, establishing study centers in Nigeria, that are preparing students, transferring some of the knowledge that they have garnered here into Nigerians in Nigeria. And that is why you have a lot of Nigerians, especially in the technology sector, who are working in the West, but who are resident in Nigeria because of the skills that they have been able to acquire.
And that sounds good. But if you were to issue your own charge to fellow Nigerians in the diaspora, what would it be?
Well, the charge I usually give is for them to actually believe in Nigeria. And you could see the trend, in the area of sports. Most of our teams now are being composed of Nigerians who have never set their, feet in Nigeria. And that tells you, the pool that your heritage, can have. Most Nigerians that lost hope about Nigeria, the moment they became successful in America or Canada, they start thinking of Nigeria because there is a limit to how far they can go, in the Western world. So, but then rather than wait until you become frustrated with the system abroad before you remember your country, why not always have your country in mind at every point in time and contribute,
and that's a good way.
To the development of your country.
End the show tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Yemi Makwadero, strategy and governance expert. Thank you so much for your time on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of this conversation on President Tinubu's charge to Nigerians in the diaspora. And as we've heard, the call is clear to stay connected, contribute meaningfully, and continue being ambassadors of excellence wherever we find ourselves across the globe, whether through investment, innovation, or advocacy. The power to shape Nigeria's future lies not only at home, but also in the hands of its sons and daughters abroad. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I am Olajum.